White rabbits, morning YouTubers. It's the 1st of April. I suppose it's April Fool's Day, isn't it? Maybe I'm being tricked. What are my family going to do to me? The kids have got something up their sleeves. So I've done 3 months of making do. Welcome to the making do vegetable patch. Although this isn't actually a vegetable patch, this is my strawberry patch. But it's full of weeds. Over there I've got potatoes. Here is peas. Down behind me there is carrots and beetroot. All the stuff that we grow every year. Now these are low maintenance vegetable patches. It's taken a long time to develop this. This is for people who like growing vegetables, me, who don't really have very much time to do it. So the beds have been minimised to so that there's not so much weeding to do. There still is quite a lot. Anyway, I've just had 2 challenges in my making do. I've just had to face a couple of little challenges recently in my making do thing. One of them in particular was I found really tough. The most recent one. I've just made a skateboard ramp for my 13-year-old son. And I have a really old drill, an electric screwdriver, very old thing. Perfectly serviceable, nothing wrong with it. And then I went to buy some more screws, which were new, admittedly, but it wasn't for me, it's for my son, in a big warehouse. And they had this sale on of electric screwdrivers, complete with a kit of drill bits and screwdriver heads and hole cutters and routers and everything at like a quarter the normal price. Really good quality drills, sort of thing they engineers use on scrap heap. And I looked at that box as I stood in the queue and went, I want one of them. It's the first thing I've really wanted since I've started, and I didn't get it. And it was a bargain. It was a bargain. And I didn't buy it. That was very difficult. But other than that, it's all going all right, really. I mean, it's quite, I'm quite enjoying it. It makes you do things like this. It makes you do things like, oh, I won't buy something new, I'll weed the garden. So, it's going all right. So 3 months in, 3 months of not buying anything. Of course, I've got a little bit obsessed with the whole, compacting your lifestyle, making do thing. There's this huge movement, as I've mentioned before, mainly in America. And I've discovered this guy on the internet. I think he's got a blog on Typepad. It's called No Impact Man. If you Google No Impact Man, you'll find him. Guy in New York who lives in an apartment. He's got a little kid. His wife is, they're both sort of fairly well-paid professionals by the sounds of things. But he's gone the whole hog. He makes me feel really wishy-washy. They're a kind of professional middle-class couple, well-paid by the sounds of things. Got a little kid. And he's gone so much further than I have. He has gone to spend a year not consuming anything. I mean, food and medicine. And I've sort of said I won't buy food, or I'll only buy food and medicine for myself, but nothing new. And I'm thinking like new cameras, new clothes, new computers. He's decided no new paper. Now just think what that means. No new paper. Okay, you've got to write on the back of the old bit of notepad you've got. But it also means no toilet paper. It also means no flushing the toilet. Now, wait a minute, this guy's living in the middle of New York. He's not living in a field like we do. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could dig a hole up in the paddock and take a dump there. I've done it before. It's very pleasant in the morning, as long as no one can see. And you bury it. Don't leave it lying around, please. But he's doing that in New York, so he fills a bucket. And I don't know what he does with it. I haven't read the whole blog. Where does he put the remainders? And they compost everything, and they haven't got a garden. They live in an apartment. And the baby wears sort of wool nappies that they wash out. Now, I mean, I've always felt guilty about the way we raised our 2 children, because they did have disposable nappies, and our landfill is the size of the Isle of Wight, I'm sure, just from those 2 kids. But, when you've got a lot on, washing out woolen nappies, I mean, the poor kid. It just makes you, it's what people did for thousands of years. I mean, I don't know why, but I think they're using felt. I think they're using old carpet as nappies, something like that. I think it's incredibly brave. It is really intriguing that the only sort of people that would consider doing that are effectively fairly wealthy middle-class people. you know, who else would want to put themselves through that? But I mean, he's trying to go. It's much more an environmental thing for him. He's trying not to make such a big impact. So he won't use a car. He'll only go on public transport, or he'd ride his bike, which is great. And of course, he got knocked off his bike because bikes are dangerous. I cycled a bike for many years in London. I cycled a bike in New York once, and that made London seem like a village. Bloody scary. But so I'm not gone as far as him. But hats off to the guy. I mean, really, big respect to him. I think it's amazing to do it. I think it's worth doing for a year. Everybody should do it. It's like a sort of spiritual journey. It's like going on a pilgrimage or the Hajj. You know, you only do it for a year. Next year, he can wipe his bottom with tissue paper. Anyway, that's yeah, 2 little challenges. Oh, the other one was the newspaper. Did you buy a newspaper? You know, I got asked all these questions, and I went, I don't know. You know, I couldn't really remember. Then I realised I had been through a little questioning moment. You know, does a newspaper count? It's new, isn't it? And I mean, I very rarely do buy newspapers. I very rarely get the opportunities to read them, so I'm not a big newspaper person anyway. But ever since, what's interesting is, ever since I said I'm not going to buy any more newspapers, I just can't make myself do it. Because this morning I had an early meeting, and I had breakfast in a cafe, which was very luxurious, and I sport myself. It was very nice. There's a moth. Oh, that's a bit brutal, isn't it? Sorry, just killed a little creature. Why did I need to do that? Well, it's eating the sofa. Anyway, so I went out for breakfast, and as I normally would with a little treat like that, I got there early so I could have breakfast before the meeting. You know, buy the newspaper, sit there, have your breakfast on your own, read the newspaper. A bit of a luxury treat for a parent. And I walked past the newsagent and I went, oh, and I couldn't do it. Now, I mean, who was going to know that I bought the newspaper? Nobody. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. But that's the weird thing that happens. It's inside you. I couldn't cheat myself that much. And I'm really slack. I'm no great moral philosopher Gandhi figure. You know, I've constantly given things up and then sneaked one in. Cigarettes being a good example. I've totally given up smoking, which is why I'm standing behind this tree having a cigarette. You know, it's that kind of thing. I will cheat myself on that. But for some reason, I just could not buy a newspaper, which is not a great sin, let's face it. So I didn't. I sat in the cafe, and I went in the cafe hoping that someone would have left one on the seat or something, and I looked all around before I sat down. Not a newspaper to be seen. And then I got my notebook out and started writing. So I didn't waste the time anyway, it was good. Okay, that's it. That's all from me, but I'll be updating you soon on the new challenges in my very, very humble year of making do. Because I've got a lot of toilet roll in the house, believe me.